Good morning and welcome back to another video. Today we're working on my 2012 Ford Expedition, and like you guys have seen in the past, we got this pretty recently. Really nothing much wrong with it, but there is an oil leak from the oil filter adapter housing, and it's pretty common leak apparently on the 5.4 liter motors. It kind of sucks a little bit to change because we're gonna have to drain the coolant basically to get to it, because giant coolant passages for the lower part of the engine go through it. So that's gonna stink, but other than that, it should be a pretty straightforward repair. So I'm gonna go ahead and walk you guys through that today. I'm gonna be fixing that, and we're also gonna be going ahead and doing the front brakes of the car. Just the pads, they have a weird squeak going on, so we'll inspect, and I'm pretty sure it's just the pad material is weird, but we'll go ahead and take care of that. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. All right, so these are the parts I picked up. Went ahead and went with the Felpro gasket, and this is the oil filter adapter housing gasket right here. I want to say this big one is where the coolant flows through, but don't quote me on that. We'll find out when we get it apart. But I guess what likes to happen is the rubber in here likes to get compressed, and then something cracks, and then you're done. Starts leaking. It has 149,000 miles on it. I went ahead and picked up two of these clamps right here. So the factory clamps use these weird pinch style ones, which look like this. And they're fine, but they have a limited clamping force, obviously. And sometimes, I don't know, I just want to be safe, and these are a lot easier to put on than trying to fight with pliers with these. So these should work. If these do wind up working out, put a part number in. I guess that's a part number right there. GAT 32453. We'll see if these actually work. I don't know for sure if they're the right size, but it's kind of an estimated guess. They look pretty beefy, so it should be good there. And then we have our coolant. So this is mostly, these are both compatible. This is the yellow stuff from Ford, the concentrate. And this is also yellow, it just happens to be from Valvoline, and these are all concentrated. This one's already been broken down 50-50 with distilled water, and I can break one of these down to 50-50, so I'll have a total of 4 gallons, and then if I need to, I have extra. Other than that though, I'm gonna go ahead and jack up the front of the truck, SUV, whatever you wanna call it, and we'll go ahead and get into it. All right, so got the truck jacked up and took off the wheel on this side so we can get better access. Let's see if I can show you where our adapter housing is real quick. Okay, so you can obviously see all the fluid coming down here, and it's real inconvenient. So the video I watched on how to do this had a 2-wheel drive model because there's no differential on the way. But if you can see that coolant pipe right there, that's leading into the adapter housing, and it's right up in there. So I'm gonna try and figure out what the best way is to do this, and it looks like the front axle may have to come out to get enough clearance in there, which is going to suck. So let me think on how I want to do this. That's not fun. So either the axle has to come down, or I think I can get to it the same way I got to the power steering going through the front here, but it'll be much easier on a lift. So I do have access to a lift on base. So I'm probably gonna wind up doing it that way because I think I can work everything through this front area, but under here, there is absolutely no clearance. So what this video is actually gonna be on, I'm gonna go ahead and do the front brake pads, just to make sure they're good to go. It's getting a pretty nasty squeak. We will come back to this oil filter adapting housing gasket thing at a later date because that's not good. So I'm gonna go ahead and do the brake pads. Got the wheel off, truck jacked up, and they actually look pretty good, like I said, on the rears, but they've been squeaking really nasty. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull off these guys. There's a bolt right here and one down here. Looks like 10mm. Pull those off, make sure nothing's seized. And then we'll go ahead and check out our brake pads and see how it is. All right, so you got the front pad off, and like, I mean, it's wearing evenly. The only thing I think of is it has a little bit of a lip that's curling up, so it might be catching some metal. Maybe that's why it's squeaking. I don't know. Honestly, I have no clue why these pads are making so much noise. They look in great shape, but I mean, there's no uneven wear. I honestly could not tell you, but I have new pads that should take care of that. They're ceramic nice pad, and we shouldn't have any more squeaks. So let's go ahead and get the new ones on there. All right, so after a little reevaluation, because I really didn't want to deal with this thing from underneath, it looks like we have enough access from the front to get this housing off, potentially. So that's it right there. And there's 4 bolts and that radiator hose that runs to it. So you gotta get the radiator hose off, drain all that crap out, and you can see it goes right to the lower radiator there. So I assume it's also probably gonna drain some out of the block. Yeah, one thing at a time, I guess. So we're gonna go ahead and kind of see what we can do to get that out. But it looks like top access is gonna be the way, because I'm not pulling out the front differential to do this. That's just not gonna happen. All right, so I went ahead and opened up the radiator to let that drain out. It's working, it looks very slowly, but radiator plug is right there. And a pair of pliers, stuff, got that out. So I'm gonna let that drain for a bit, and nothing really else I can do about that. It's not going any faster. So we'll set that dude's thing and pop the cap on the top side. And then we'll get that hose off next, it looks like. So it's not gonna be too bad to get to, but not super fun either. So we'll just keep on going. All right, so I went ahead and popped out the hose at the bottom there. You can now see it's free, and I just angled it up that way. So I had a bit of a mess, but nothing too crazy. And I'm sorry I'm not able to get you guys better step-by-step footage with this, but this process just is not conducive based on space to a camera, so it is what it is. Next up, I know we got 4 bolts to remove, and I think the whole housing should come out. I know there's also a plug on the back side of this thing, probably for oil temperature, oil pressure. So I gotta go ahead and reach around and try and find that. You can see that part of the cable right there, so reach somewhere on the back side. And when I pull it out, I'll show you guys where it's actually at, but I know it's on there somewhere. So we'll go ahead and keep going. All right, so I'm kind of using the old gasket. It sits like this up on the car as a way to figure out where these bolts are. So I got the one back here, got that one, and I got that one. So it should just be the one more way up top somewhere. But that's what they look like. And looks like our top one, I think I already got the top one. Yeah, we're just gonna keep going. But we'll find these eventually and knock them out. Shit. All right, so hopefully you saw that come out, but this is our leaky gasket, and then there's our sensor that we popped out. So I'm not entirely sure where this thing was leaking from exactly. Somewhere around here, I guess. And I'm gonna go ahead and pull out the gasket now. Do that off camera, and then we'll see if we can figure out what was leaking. All right, so I went and cleaned it up a little bit, and the orientation it seems to go on the block is this way, but all these O-rings are pretty rock hard at this point. Guessing that's what was doing it. It's probably seeping around and making its way out, but there you have it. So it goes on like this. I guess this side goes toward the block, but doesn't really matter. That's the new one. Go ahead and clean this thing up as best I can, and then go ahead and get it installed. All right, so I got it up, cleaned up pretty decently. If you have any paint thinner laying around, it works really good as like a brake parts cleaner. But it's pretty decent. All the mating surfaces on it looks pretty grimy, but they're nice and flat. Can't feel anything, and they should be able to seal nicely for the new piece, which is right there. So let's go ahead and get that situated up. We'll go ahead and get that tossed on, and I'll let you know what the torque specs are if I figure them out. If not, they're only 10 millimeters, so you don't go crazy tight. Probably like somewhere in the less than 25 foot-pounds, if I had to guess. Probably 8.5 inch-pounds. That's generally what Ford likes to use for small bolts like this. Gasket's set in place, nothing crazy. Go ahead and get this lined up and put it on the car. All right, so I got my little torque wrench right there, and it looks like it goes to 180 inch-pounds or 15 foot-pounds. But see the new gasket is in there sandwiched. Adapter housing's in now. That's pretty much it. We just got to put our coolant line back on, get the new clamp on, put the oil filter back on. I took out the little plate that goes here, sitting right there. Those are 8 millimeter, and fill it up with coolant. We should be good. All right, got our new clamp on. You guys can see in there, right there. Housing's on, torqued down, and I got a little plate right here. Let's go pop the oil filter back on and fill it up with coolant. I think we should be good. All right, so just went for a test drive, and obviously I won't be able to tell if that was the actual problem or not for a couple days. I have to drive the truck around for a bit and make sure, but it seems to be good to go. Cleaned everything up down there, and that's really much it. So that's really about it. So I do apologize that I couldn't get the normal time-lapse footage that I get while I'm working down there, or like real-time stuff. It was just the actual working on it was just a pain in the butt. I could not get a camera in there. I could barely fit my head in there, plus my face, and actually see with an arm and do anything. So it is what it is. But hopefully you guys enjoyed, and maybe it'll help you out learn something. I did want to do the brakes. I thought about doing 2 separate videos. That's why it's a little awkward transition. But I want to do the front brakes as well. No more squeak, so that's awesome. And like the rear pads, they had plenty of life left. I think it was just whatever the pad material was, I don't know what it is, weird. But they have ceramics on it now, and everything was loose and nice and well lubricated, so it seems to be good to go. But that's gonna do it for this video on the Expedition. So I'll see you guys in the next one. Take it easy.